I'm Mike Malott. Tune into the Donttap podcast.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.
Both of you guys have done commentary for BTC for some time. I want you to talk about this event coming up in Kingston right now. Give me the hype. Give me the plug. We got a big fight, Ontario. We got a big main event as well too. Kingston this weekend, BTC 19. Take it away, Jason.
Well, it's BTC 19, so it's our first show of the year. And this card looks fantastic. We have like 11 fights, so we're actually pretty deep. We've had some shows where, tons of fights have fallen out, and we've soldiered on with 4, so we have 11 solid fights. Not only that, but we have our first title fight since BTC 8, which was in November of 2019 in Niagara Falls. And what a title fight it is. I mean, a UFC veteran, Walel Watson, coming to Canada, looking to get his first win in this country. And, Walel himself, a veteran's fought everywhere around the world, and is coming off a win, like a very quick submission victory out in California back in January, where, Siri is a guy that I've always thought was going to be, one of the best up-and-coming bantamweights going on in Canada, and he's lived up to that hype right now. Obviously, BFL bantamweight champion, but he gets to return home to the promotion where he started his pro journey and had all the success before moving to go out west, and comes to take on the toughest test in his competition that he's ever faced in Walel. So I'm very excited for that fight. I'm excited for the dynamic of how Siri does, especially against a bigger guy and a veteran like Walel that he's taking on. I'm so excited for this fight. And as well, a championship fight. And it's been a while since we've had a title fight, and it's about time. And I think this is going to be a big year for the promotion in terms of title fights.
And Josh, what can you say about what you know about Siri himself and training and what you've seen in the past in fights, just to highlight him, gentleman out of Ontario?
Yeah, man, he's been training with us since I think he was like 15 or 16, forever. I remember he was just a little kid with us. We used to beat the hell out of him, and he never went away. And now he's laying beatings down, and he's one of my hardest sparring sessions, man. He's very good, very talented, super disciplined, very, very strong mentally. I expected, and I still do expect huge things from this kid. I think he'll go very far. This is a great step up for him. Like Jay was saying, Walel, I remember, Walel, at one point, I think I was supposed to fight him at one point for one show. But he fought in the UFC, he fought some killers. He fought Mitch Gagnon, he fought TJ Dillashaw. So he's been in the cage with, top quality guys. So this is a great test for a guy like Suri, who's on the up and up. And, a win over a guy like Walel will definitely propel him to potentially, a UFC or maybe a contender show or something like that.
Let's move on to the co-main. We have 2 guys that are just up and coming right now, 2 fights under the belt, each 2 victories. We have Matt Smith against Sylvester Sanchez. Either of you, if you want to take it away, just sort of highlight some of these guys and what they bring to the table.
Well, for Matt Smith, it's really, a box of chocolate type of fight going to his third fight. You don't know what you're going to get. In his first pro debut, he was really just a striker, and he was throwing wild spinning back fists, pushing the pace with leg kicks. And then in his second fight against Matt Bednarik to close out 2022 for BTC, he was a full-on wrestler. He controlled the pace, took Bednarik down time and time again. So I don't know what Matt Smith we're going to see, but we know he's very well-rounded. Him working a lot with Urgis Segeta, that's going to make your wrestling really, really solid. But his opponent here in Sylvester Sanchez, I'm excited to see him. This is a guy that's just picking up a win about a month or so ago in Budo Fighting Championship out in Mexico. He's moving up a weight class for this fight, so Matt's going to have some size on him. But, these Mexican guys, they just love to fight, love to put on a show. And, Sylvester is, still relatively young. I believe he's around 23 to 25 years old. So he's going to be fearless in there. And I'm just excited to see what this can do. And for Matt, it's a big step up in, a co-main event slot in just your third pro fight. So how does he handle the pressure as well with a lot of fans and friends coming to see him fight in Kingston?
Yeah, just to add on to it, I think he's the type of guy that's going to really like that. You can tell you talking to him, he's a beauty of a guy.
Oh my God.
Old school.
He's
hockey,
my favorite.
Like, he should be a character on like Shorzy or one of those shows.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's hilarious. I think you'll see him probably. I'm just guessing here. Utilize more wrestling in this one again, like his last fight, just due to, just the stereotypical Mexican style fighter usually love to come and strike and love to bang and get in your face and box more. So, but maybe not. I don't know. It could be more of a striking affair. So, yeah, it's exciting, and being in Kingston is close to his hometown, so I'm sure he's gonna get a huge pop.
And then, like I was saying, we won't have to go through the whole card. I want to touch on certain fights and then highlight ones. And then after I sort of detail ones, if there's anybody else you guys want to highlight, tail that in on the end. The one guy I sort of wanted to look at, and I've been following since, I actually had learned about him and had him on the podcast a while ago through you, Josh, is Liam Gallagher. This kid puts it together, man. One hell of a prospect. I'm excited to see what he is going to do in his career. One of those guys that you sort of get on early, and it's exciting to see where this is going to go. So Liam Gallagher coming in against Kareem Hanim. You may have to correct me on that pronunciation. Both fighters, they both had 3 fights combined now. Prospects, there's a lot of amateur fights there as well too. I know that you're going to be in the corner, or not necessarily in the corner of Liam, but I know that you're training Liam and getting him ready for the fight, Josh. So there is going to be bias, obviously, but let's highlight this fight. What do we got here in Gallagher? And we'll say Kareem because I don't want to mispronounce the last name again.
Well, I can be fully biased in this one because I'll be stepping out of the commentary. I'll be cornering him. So
yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because the one thing I've seen that sort of is rough is if you have to commentate, but if you get to jump out in corner, awesome.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I'll let somebody step in and do that one for me, and I'll be in the corner. So, but yeah, as far as a coach, speaking about his athlete, it's he's a huge up and coming prospect, a lot of talent, man, and he's putting in the work and the time. He's in great shape. This is a nice step up in competition too. It's it's not taking a huge step, but he's not sandbagging it either. It's progression, and I like it. Kareem's good. We've only got to see one of his fights, his pro debut against Glusman, and he looked really good. He looked like he's got a lot of explosiveness, and he's a good striker, can take guys down and stay on top and ground and pound. So it's definitely a step up, and I think it's a step in the right direction. It's not an easy fight for sure, but I think he's got all the tools to pull this one out and get his 3rd win.
Yeah, when I see Liam, obviously it's exciting because one, he's quite an athlete. He just takes to the sport like a fish to water. He brings a great fan base with him. It's always very loud when Liam fights. Sometimes it's hard for us in the headsets to hear what's going on, especially his last fight there against Matt Dawson. Was like his whole family and fan base was right behind Ergus and I when we did the call. But Kareem's a different mix than a Matt Dawson in this fight, where Kareem's a great athlete, and you don't know what you're going to get in his start. His start in that pro debut that he had against Glusman, where that push teep kick was one of the most insane things I've seen in the BTC cage in calling fights. I'm interested to see as well what Liam's learned from his time in Thailand, that he went there for about a couple months or so. How does he include that Muay Thai into his style? And as well, the thing with Liam, he's never taken like an easy fight. Like he's taken always tough fights in BTC. He's never been like a slam dunk. There's always been, especially in his pro debut, there was a little moment there where you weren't sure how it was going to go, but he pulled it out. And then, you just see the growth going, and I can't wait to see the growth continue because he's a solid prospect. He's the next, great bantamweight in this country. He moves tickets. He has an audience, has a following. And that just screams excitement when he steps in the cage.
Awesome. And then the last one that I want to sort of detail, and then you guys can jump in and say anybody else if I'm missing anybody. I got to give a shout out down to Niagara top team. We got to look at Luke Roberts coming in against Yusuf Nazakatov. Man, that could be a banger as well too, and a fun one to watch. Jason, I'll let you take this one away. Luke coming out of a very successful camp on a Niagara top team and looking to shine here at BTC in Kingston.
Yeah, Luke with the weird record of 1-0-1 to start. He had a draw in his pro debut back when we were in Vancouver. But, I mean, you're coming from Niagara top team. You're obviously going to have great wrestling. Luke even had great wrestling before he got to Niagara top team. That's where he really met Chris Prickett. It's just going to be how can, Luke find ways to push the pace, use that wrestling, fight that Niagara Top Team style, put his opponent up against the fence, grind him down, and then look for a finish that way. As well, what's his striking going to do? I know Luke, when we were talking with him in pre-fight, I think he's kind of excited to let the hands go a bit, where his opponent here in Nazakadov, made his pro debut in Bellator. That's kind of a weird journey to your second fight, where you've had, the big stage for your pro debut in Ireland. Now you're going here with us in Canada. He trains at TriStar as well. I'm excited to see what Nazakadov can do. He seemed like a real great guy when we chatted with him, and just what his style can do to bring. I mean, his pro debut, he won by a heel hook. We'll see how his ground game works, and against someone like a Niagara Top Team fighter, where their ground game is just crystal perfect.
Josh?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's that gritty, tough dude that, obviously is wrestling, grappling, this top level, not afraid to throw either. Yusuf, like he said, he made his debut. He's 1-0, and it was Bellator Ireland card, and you don't know how those Ireland cards are, the fans there. So he's already had that taste of that big crowd and things like that, and performed under the lights. So I think that's an advantage there in that sense. And then, he won by heel hook, which is pretty, adds another interesting layer, because if Luke does take this fight to the ground, if he's able to pull off some heel hooks and playing with the legs, things like that, it makes it more dangerous. So, that's a good fight. That's a really interesting fight. I'm looking forward to that one, and just kind of just see where it plays out. If Luke can get to the mat, or if Yusuf can kind of stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet maybe, or be on the mat and maybe try to pull something like a heel hook or something like that. So, it's a good one.
And as a pro fighter yourself, what would be your advice to someone like Luke, say, if he's trying to keep a guy down and trying to stay off the heel hook, stay away from those legs? What are some of the primary things that you need to be looking to keep doing to make sure that you're maintaining your dominance?
You got to follow his hips when you're on the mat. You can't let him start to elevate you. Maybe he's throwing some butterflies. Really, just crash down, sprawl down on his guard. Keep him flat. Keep both of his shoulders, both of his hips on the mat. Ground and pound. Whenever he's starting to get a little squirrely, starting reaching for things, a punch always solves a lot of times. You know what I mean? It's not just jiu-jitsu. Things like that. Just position before submission, and making sure you're have a good base down there, and you're not letting the guy get underneath your base.
That's right there is valuable advice, understanding to stay down, stay heavy, and all the intricate things that go into it. Things that, we can't understand necessarily, Jason. Well, maybe you can as well too, but I know, Josh, you detailing all those things intricately because you're in there all the time. Always insightful on what people want to hear, right? So Jared Dumont out of the Niagara Top Team, and I know he's got one fight under his belt, but I know that he's in the rooms nonstop. His highlight reel is looking great, and I follow him on Instagram, so I've been following his training. He's working his ass off. Jared Dumont, let's speak about that gentleman.
Well, he's nicknamed the Sheriff, which is an awesome nickname. He looks, really good. He looked really good in his pro debut. Got a first-round submission victory in his pro debut. He went out there when Jazz fought out in Vegas, got some work in at the PI, met some guys. So we'll see how much improvements he's made as well. I'm high on this prospect as well. Really, anyone coming out of Niagara Top Team is a name to follow, especially if you can get in on them at the ground level, Jared Dumont is right now.
I mean, Al-Malik, he's fighting. I think he's the opener. He's 1-2 pro record, but he's ran into some really tough competition early in his career. And I think he finally got his pro first win in his last fight, and I think that kind of really built some confidence underneath him. So I think he's going to look to I know he's going to look to keep that going. And he's fighting an American coming over in Shapiro, which it's not an easy fight, that's for sure. But I think I like seeing the super motivated, more confident Eamon. So I think he's going to really, really bring it in this one. So that one's going to be a good one to call.
But BTC this weekend, if you guys want to do a quick plug to take it away, I'll have both you guys in tandem and figure out whatever way you guys want.
Go ahead.
It's BTC 19, goes down this Saturday from the Leon Center in Kingston, Ontario. There are tickets still available, and if you are in the Kingston area, come out. I mean, this is the first time pro MMA has ever been in Kingston, so why wouldn't you come check it out? It's in a great building, home of the Frontenacs in the Ontario Hockey League, and we got a banging card. Now 10 fights, thanks to great reporter here, Josh Hill, but 10 great fights. And a title is on the line where Siri Seedy takes on Wall Watson, a UFC veteran, a guy that's fought all around the world. And why wouldn't you want to come check it out? It's just great MMA action, and it's going to be a banging card. If you can't make it out to Kingston, though, you can order the pay-per-view where Josh and I will have the call on it. That's at btcfight.ca/live. You can order the pay-per-view and get yourself set for a great Saturday night of fights.
Let's make this really simple. Half the time, people don't ever order UFC pay-per-views, right? You've been saving a lot of money on whatever you're doing to get your pay-per-views for the UFC. So why not put it into your regional? Why not support a company like the BTC who supports young fighters up and coming? If you want to really call yourself a hardcore fan, if you really want to be someone that actually supports the community instead of just sharing and all the bullshit that goes with that, support through actually paying for this pay-per-view. Support through, if you're in the Kingston area, go buy a ticket. Go and enjoy it. Bring your kid out. Do it. For Josh Hill, Jason Hagholm, I'm Callum McGregor. Thank you for tuning into the Donttap podcast.